Welcome to the Rise and Grind podcast. Today I'm your host. I'm the CEO and founder of Ryse Supplements, and we got Greg Helton here. He's the VP of Ryse. Greg, introduce yourself.
My name is Greg. I have just started working with Ryse in the past 3 months or so, but I've been good friends with Nick for the last, 3 or 4 years? Something like that.
It's been about 4 years since we started.
Yeah, so probably about the time you started. But I have my industry background stretches over the past 8 or 9 years or so. I've worked with a couple different companies and a bunch of different aspects of the industry, I guess you'd say. So started in everything, branding, marketing, kind of worked my way into sales.
What's your favorite aspect?
Probably still sales, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, sales, relationships. It's more fun.
What'd you do when you did marketing?
Everything. My marketing job wasn't as marketing as it might sound. It was really more kind of like branding and creative. Just because the company I was with wasn't really into like digital or doing much on spending. So
right.
It was really
So what you guys don't know is Greg used to do a lot of our graphic design.
I have. And hopefully
before he became to be the VP, but so he's a talented graphic designer.
Yes, that does not do any graphic design anymore.
Labels that you see, he actually partook in some of them.
Yeah, a few.
So let's jump right into Ryse. What, on a day-to-day, what do you say you do here?
I don't think that I have like a clear day-to-day. It's kind of just whatever needs to get done, gets done. Obviously, it's a lot of relationship management, talking to accounts, dealing with our manufacturer, kind of talking Nick off the ledge 400 or 500 times a day.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more.
Let's jump into that. Let's talk about supply chain. Why are we struggling so much with supply chain right now?
So we obviously don't manufacture our own supplements, so we do work with a contract manufacturer. And obviously everyone knows what's going on with COVID. What people, outside of the industry don't understand is that COVID had lasting and will continue to have lasting effects on the industry, just because a lot of not only ingredients, but kind of plastics, materials, labels, anything that really goes into getting a finished product done is permanently delayed for a little while. So
it's almost like it's one thing after another too. First is plastics, then it's citrulline, then it's beta-alanine. It's like, what the fuck? When's it going to end?
Right, and it's because of a couple things. So it's not just that these things stop getting made. It's that a lot of companies tried to get ahead of this and bought up a ton of it. Prices got jacked up. Obviously, manufacturing overseas slowed down or shut down for a good period of time. So it's the perfect storm of being out of stock at this point.
Let's talk about Formula Life. So we've only manufactured at Formula Life. So for you guys watching, 4 years straight, Formula Life, great manufacturer. It's FDA certified, level 3, NSF. It's got all the certifications in the world. I know that you may have seen some manufacturers that don't meet those criterias.
Right.
So I don't know much about it because I've only stuck with Formula Life. Tell me about kind of some other manufacturers out there.
So a lot of people, when they talk about this industry specifically, they say, supplements aren't regulated by the FDA. They're not approved by the FDA, but I would say that they're actually over-regulated by the FDA compared to things like food or drugs.
Right.
The difference between a supplement manufacturer and, let's say, Pfizer or a pharmaceutical manufacturer is that most supplement manufacturers can't hand the FDA an envelope and say, go away. So that's why I think that they're when I say overregulated, don't get me wrong, I love that it's safe and everything, but I do feel like the FDA sometimes is pretty far-reaching. That being said, there are also a lot of brands that do things purposely wrong, without getting into detail on people. Obviously, it's getting a little bit more clear to consumers now with the reports that are coming out, but there's a lot of steps that are skipped.
Well, that's why you may see think positive. You may see some companies out there, actually some of our competitors, guys, that have product quicker and quicker restocks because of that. They're not following GMP guidelines that they set for themselves. They're definitely cutting corners, I guess you could say, right?
Oh, it's definitely cutting corners. I mean, there's a lot of little intricacies to CFR 111, which is the portion of the FDA manual that kind of regulates our industry. So trying to really without just calling people out. So to give a little bit of the details, when a manufacturer like Formula Life takes an ingredient in from a vendor, there's a couple steps that they have to go through. So they have to pre-qualify that vendor. They need to test those raw ingredients, make sure that they're matching up with what they're supposed to be. They need to test them for micros, make sure that they're not dirty, they don't have, high levels of metal, whatever it might be.
Right.
They have to wait for those test results to get back before that ingredient can be released to get into the actual batch, right? So that's where these longer lead times are coming in, especially now with, it's slower to get the product or the ingredients. So it's slower to test them, slower to release them.
Well, too, we've also, so what Greg didn't touch on, we have had a massive influx in demand.
Right.
So alongside of this COVID issue, our demand is through the roof. So
yeah, so that's what I mean by a perfect storm. So it's
yeah.
not only the supply chain, it's supply chain plus, quadrupling, quintupling business at the same time. It's
plus you got Vitamin Shop we thrown in.
Right.
Doing very good in there the first month. Internationally, we're in 26 countries.
Right.
Just brick and mortar alone throughout the United States and online has just been hard.
Yeah, I'm going to use this platform real quick to talk to my personal accounts a little bit. I'm not ignoring you guys, just trying to get product so I can actually, deliver what we need to deliver to you guys.
Of course, and we don't want to deliver and then run out of product so you guys aren't with product, then out of stock, then with product out of stock. We're trying to supply chain first. So Greg and I have actually been only doing supply chain, and it's not even our best suit. So it's probably not a good thing that we're doing that around the clock, but it's what's needed. So
yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it's what has to be focused on first. So that's why, day to day, I would love for my day to day to be a little bit more clear and, be able to, deal with my accounts a little bit more, deal with actually doing the fun stuff when it comes to running a brand, like product development, new products, new flavors, some cool ideas, work with our influencers more.
Which we got.
Yeah.
We got coming.
Somehow we are still getting that done.
So one thing that we do great here is use patented ingredients as much as possible. Trademarked ingredients as much as possible. What is the advantage? So I know, but I want you to explain it to the consumers, what the advantage is of using these ingredients in studies that they do.
Well, first I'd say that you need to make sure that we use the proper trademarked ingredients. There are a lot of trademarked ingredients out there where companies will, and this is something consumers really don't know. So they're always asking for the trademarked version of certain ingredients when I would say that the studies on those ingredients are
Let's go through one like citicoline.
Okay.
You got Cognizant.
Right.
All right, let's go through that.
Yeah, so something like that. I mean, obviously those are, they're different forms of the raw ingredient, where a lot of times what a company will do is they will just trademark a certain or do clinical studies on a certain dose of a generic ingredient, and then they'll sell you that generic ingredient for an increased price just because they've done the studies on it.
Right.
So if you're getting a generic version of, I don't know, let's say beta-alanine, and then you're also getting the patented version of beta-alanine that everyone uses, it's the same exact thing. There's really no difference.
Now, the only benefit in using carnosine is you can use their case studies.
Right, you can use their case studies. You can make claims that you are using the clinical dose at 3.2 grams, things like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not wrong. It's just a lot of consumers don't understand that you are really getting the same thing.
Speaking of beta-alanine.
You want
to talk about beta-alanine?
If you want to talk about beta-alanine.
Beta-alanine is one of my favorite ingredients in sports nutrition. So it has this bad rep because you have to hit a saturation point.
Right.
But people that claim that take creatine. Creatine's got a saturation point.
There's a lot of ingredients that have saturation points.
And the performance benefit from beta-alanine is from 3 to 2%. Can you imagine having a 3 to 3% lift on your performance?
Yeah, think about that, but put it in, I like to put things into financial perspective. Think about if you were 3% richer. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that pays bills for a month. That pays for a lot of extra things. So like when you're talking about a 3% increase in performance, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to me, like for a little bit of burn and a performance increase, fuck yeah, give me that shit.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it's
increase,
also,
that's all we're looking for supplements.
That's the other thing. And it's getting a bad rap because it's being spoken about by industry pundits and gurus or whatever as being useless, and it's not useless. It's it's just people don't realize what it's used for. So a lot of general consumers think that it's just for the itch and the the tingly feeling.
To feel it when it kicks in. That is.
But it's a lactic acid buffer.
Then.
Right, but but it's a lactic acid buffer. So what it really does is it prevents your body from building lactic acid, helps you get a couple more reps out, increases endurance. Like there's real benefits to it.
And what people don't understand is you're going to build a tolerance to it.
Yeah,
yes, the first time you're going to feel it, but the more you take it, the better you're going to feel.
For sure. So. And again, like it's a saturation supplement, so it's something you should take consistently.
Yeah. Well, every day.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here. More doesn't mean better in pre-workout. Jake, what the fuck are you talking about? More doesn't mean better in pre-workout. Less is more, right? So when we're talking about pre-workout, so we've already teased that we're coming out with an old pre-workout by this point. Let's talk a little bit about what it is in terms of the best and why
hate
it's
that
so
word.
extreme.
I hate that word.
What, best?
Yeah.
Well, it's the best. It's the best out there right now.
Right. The best out there.
All
on
right.
paper.
Okay. Most loaded.
Right. The most loaded for sure. But like, I mean, you and I are a perfect example, right? Like nitrates hit me way harder. They work for me better in terms of like a pump and getting volume in my muscles, while citrulline works better for you.
Dude, we were talking yesterday about citrulline malate. People look down on citrulline malate, but I was telling you that 6 grams of citrulline malate, which is really 3 grams.
4 grams of pure L-citrulline.
It's 1-to-1.
Oh.
So 3 grams in the core.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So you're talking 3 grams of citrulline. I lost my train of thought. And then 3 grams of malic acid.
Right.
That hits me better because the malic acid does help it absorb for me better.
Right.
And these people that are putting malic acid on their label claim, which they shouldn't be, it's actually not enough malic acid to absorb that citrulline.
Right, and they're usually putting it in the other ingredients where they're not disclosing how much they're putting in there. It's one of those things that gets a bad rap because it's misunderstood. You know, like pure L-citrulline is great, and it does obviously absorb better with malic acid, which is why when you're taking citrulline malate.
But again, that's just me.
Right.
Like for some people, maybe it doesn't.
And that's kind of my point and why I hate the word best, because like there are people out there that can take the general C4 and love it. And you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. It's not, in my opinion, the best pre-workout. It's not the best for you for performance at all. But if it works for certain people and that's what it takes to get them going, like it's all about personal goals in fitness, right?
So that's the reason why before you got here, we have a nitrate base and we have a citrulline base.
Right.
We did that on purpose, guys. Like nitrates, you want to talk about the difference between nitrates and citrulline quick?
Yeah. I mean, they work through different...
As far as how it's broken down and it's going to react differently to everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, they work through different ATP pathways, right? So, like, your body produces energy in a couple different ways. So, citrulline obviously works through the ornithine complex, where the nitrates, I honestly don't know the details on how that works. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just gets absorbed straight through your bloodstream instead of converting to different amino acids in your body. But again, regardless of the science behind it, they work differently for different people. So that's why for me, nitrates over the last like 6-7 years, I've just noticed that I felt more. That's why I do like our blackout.
Yeah, me too. Except for it's too strong.
Yeah.
Hits me too hard. So guys, to touch on our loaded versus our blackout, there's a different, it's the same milligrams of total caffeine yielded, and the blackout, you're only going to get you're going to get 370 milligrams of anhydrous, so it's going to hit you like a train right away versus 300 milligrams in the loaded.
Right. It's that front end energy versus how it tapers off at the end. Right.
Nootropics. Talk about some Vincamine.
I love Thinkamine. So again, I'm a giant nootropic guy. I'm the person who kind of sits down and does work all day at my desk and tries to take, different nootropics. And I've done everything, obviously. Like I've done modafinil, which is not exactly a supplement, but it's the movie Limitless was based on that. So Thinkamine was cool. Like when I first took the loaded pre-workout, when we were taking samples of it, like I love a nice pump and focus pre-workout. So like, don't get me wrong, I love caffeine too. I obviously drink a ton of it a day. So like, when it's 300, 400 milligrams, it doesn't affect me too much. So the focus portion of this, I think a lot of people underestimate the value of that in a pre-workout just because.
Well, isn't that what a pre-workout is?
Right. I mean.
Isn't that why the pump category? So, when I go back to when I took dietary supplements, the pump category kind of came about because you stack it with a pre-workout.
Right.
Pre-workout for me was intended to be focus and energy.
Yeah.
Primarily with a little bit of pump.
Right. I mean, that's where like think about like your old pre-workouts like Jacked.
Yeah.
Like
that straight energy.
Was that a 2.5 gram scoop? Not even like a 2 gram scoop?
They used to have those ultra scoops. Remember? It was like really small.
Yeah, there's no pump ingredients in there.
They used to call it concentrate.
Right. Right. So that's like the smallest scoop you could possibly get to get the craziest burst of energy.
Stimulants, yeah.
Now, let's be honest here. Like there's DMAA in there and a bunch of other things that,
I understand, but when I was growing up, and then that's when the pump category came in.
And it was separated at first.
Right. So you can get a great I mean, it's still separate. I still separate mine.
Yeah.
I find a great pre-workout loaded, and I stack these with it. So this has been kind of a topic of debate recently. If you want to kind of go into why these would be used and why they are beneficial.
So I had a conversation on TikTok yesterday, a long-winded conversation with a consumer, fan, troll, whatever you want to call him. So basically, like, he didn't understand why we would make pump caps instead of just overdosing our pre-workout with efficacious doses. First of all, our pre-workouts, every single one of them are all efficaciously dosed. The thing is like, for me, I used to, when I was a personal trainer, my last client used to leave at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I would like to lift late, right? But then I would also have 6, 7 a.m. classes, or I would have more clients in the morning if it was a weekend. So I didn't want to take, 300, 400 milligrams of caffeine. So back then I used to take either a non-stim pre-workout with just pump ingredients and have, half a cup of coffee, or I would like quarter scoop a strong pre-workout. So that's what it is, right? Like if you love blackout, but you're working out at 9:30 at night, you don't want to take 400 milligrams of caffeine, you'll never go to sleep, right? So you can quarter scoop that, a little bit of energy, a little bit of focus, but obviously those pump ingredients are perfect for a night pre-workout. You still want the performance, you still want the focus, but
you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, you're never
and
going
that's the bottom line.
Just give options.
Yeah, and I mean, if we made something with everything under the sun in it, which we did, and it's coming, guys, people are going to complain like, oh, it's too much. Mm-hmm. It is. It is too much for every day.
And it's also like the placebo effect is real. Like, you can see a ridiculous on paper supplement facts panel, and you might think it's working better for you. It's probably not.
You can only get so much of a pump.
Yeah,
your arms aren't going to explode one day. Like, guys, you can only.
Are you sure?
Depends what you're taking.
Yeah.
You can only open up your blood vessels and get so much blood in your muscles. Like, you can take as much citrulline as you want. It's not going to make a difference. No, at some point.
There comes a point where you're also not absorbing the ingredient anymore. Right. And that's different for everyone. It's not like, again, I'm sure there are studies that say that there's some max dose of absorbed citrulline. I can guarantee you right now, if you test 10 people, all 10 will have different levels of that.
Well, so everybody reacts differently, too.
Right.
I react better to, like, 4 grams.
Yeah, I mean, I like loaded, the amount of citrulline that's in loaded. It feels nice
4.
for me.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
sweet spot.
Kind of range, and that's why in our new pre-workout, I'll kind of tease it a little bit. We put 3 different forms.
Right.
So it works through different pathways, different ways. Like,
and the other thing is, like, you can't really expect every general consumer to kind of go on PubMed or read, like, NCBI and read, like, the real studies and furthermore understand them, right?
90% don't. So, like, when you're looking at the brand.
90%, yeah.
Yeah, like.
So you trust the brand to give you some education. But again, like, I'm a big proponent of everyone reacts differently to everything. So why not just give options? Figure out what works best for you. If you like our core, I love our core.
I love it too.
You could say that it's our lighter, more moderate, more beginner pre-workout, but I mean, I know what I want out of a pre-workout and it works for me.
Well, too, like some days, like you're looking at the lineup right here, guys, on YouTube, there's 3 different ones. Like, I take different ones every day.
Me too, and it depends on when I'm working out.
I don't take blackout every day. I don't, like, this still has time released in it. Like last night when we were here, guys, we were here packing till 10 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, and we were going to lift. Like, I wasn't going to take one of these with time release. You could take core.
No, I was probably going to take the core Pink Blast.
Yeah, and it's going to wear off. Mm-hmm. And it tastes great. It's a great experience. It's got good focus. It's got a great pump.
Right.
But also, like, it's got 2 grams of beta-alanine. So if you're not into that itch factor and butthole
it's a nice
sting or whatever they call
it,
you're still getting your beta-alanine and building up your saturation point.
Right.
And who said, I think I saw this from somebody, one of the influencers, like, who said the magic, again, everybody's different. Like, the buildup of beta-alanine in your system, there's no magic number. It's not like when you hit 96 grams,
all of a sudden your lactic acid stops.
Yeah, you're saturated.
It's a timed thing. So, like, your body's going to periodically produce or buffer lactic acid better over the course
healing, right? Like, you get a cut, everyone's going to heal differently at different rates. Like, your body's going to absorb it differently. So, like,
we're all about healing after this wisdom tooth surgery.
I fucking healed great. That's why.
Your healing saturation point's like 90% there.
98%.
98%.
So I'm good to go. Really quick. But my point is, like, everybody's different. Don't look too much into these studies because there's a very wide range of studies. Like, if you look at a citrulline study, there's a 3 gram, there's a 10 gram. And just like Greg said, everybody's going to react differently. So you don't know where you sit in that. Right. And that's the same with beta-alanine. That's the same with creatine saturation. So don't, like, look too much into the studies. But don't grab something way underdosed. I see some pre-workouts out there that have like 1 gram of citrulline in it.
Right.
It's like, bro, don't take that.
I was talking to somebody, and they were in college, not an athlete or anything, definitely not like a high-level athlete, and they were talking about like missing a couple grams of protein a day. Let me be the first to say, we are always going to formulate our products to be efficaciously dosed. We're going to follow the clearest science that we can, obviously. But if you are not the highest level Olympic athlete on the planet, 1 to 5 grams of protein a day is not going to change your life. Your body's not going to. Even if you are, you're not going to notice it. Like, you got to think about something like Michael Phelps is eating 12,000 calories a day. You think if he has 11,990, it's going to affect his performance. He's going to, that is not how this works. But the general population purchasing dietary supplements is a gram here, a gram there, it's not going to change your life. That being said, obviously, we as a brand have the responsibility of dosing things efficaciously and giving people what they want. It's just, people have this like milligram fear, and it's just not there. It's not correct.
No. And that even brings me to the pill, the pump cap versus the pump powder.
Right.
Like we're getting a lot on that. And yes, our pump powder is better. It has more ingredients in it. It's better dosed. But of course, it's a powder. Like, do you want to bring another bottle to the gym and be scooping it in? And most people don't even have a shaker. They're putting it into a bottle and spilling it everywhere in the air. You got to worry about mixing your pre-workout. Or do you want to just pop 4 caps?
Right.
And still get a great pump with it.
Some people don't like capsules. Some people, they prefer capsules. I had a customer reach out to me asking if they can unscrew our capsules of fat burner and drink it. And I was like, that's going to taste terrible and probably burn. But some people like the, powder fat burners.
Does it with these, and he said it doesn't change the taste of the loaded pre-workout at all. He just puts them right in.
That's so hard to believe. Herbal ingredients, just like from my history of manufacturing, smell terrible. Like if you crack one of these caps open, I'm sure it's not going to be the most pleasant experience of your life.
A lot of it's based around whey too. Like
right, yeah. So they have the peptides in here, right? So that's
and vasodrive.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. Again, find what works.
And again, it's not, like you can definitely empty these out and throw them in a pre-workout if you just prefer to take it all in one scoop. I know a lot of people don't.
I think it would hit quicker too because you don't have to digest the capsule before.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would. Again, so for me, I find what works personally for me. Like for me, I like to eat an hour and a half to 2 hours prior to my workout just so I'm completely digested and my metabolism's not working on
pancakes?
That. Oh, God.
Oh, wait, you just say pancakes. Pancake.
Singular.
Chocolate chip.
Yeah, it was like the size of 6 short stacks. But, yeah, so I mean, I'll take my pump caps 30 to 40 minutes prior to my workout, and then I'll take my pre-workout 15 to 20 minutes prior, just because I know how they hit, right? Yeah. So I know when the gelatin's going to dissolve, or at least for me, so just works better.
Yeah. I just throw something down, and you still got to get in there and work, guys.
Yeah, the other thing
things
is,
aren't going to make your physique.
What I want everyone to do is go look up the definition of supplement, right? And the real definition is in addition to, right? So these are not you can't you could sit here and take supplements all day, but if your diet's not on point, your training's not on point, your sleep's not on point, your mental health's not on point, they're not going to work the way they're supposed to.
Well, so to literally supplement.
It's to supplement your diet, your actual diet, right? So you can't get the right amount of amino acids unless you're eating 6 steaks a day, right? That's why people take amino acids. That's why people take proteins. That's why it's very hard at 225 pounds for me to get 200 plus grams of protein in a day.
Talking about that yesterday.
Right.
Do you know how hard it is even for myself to get 150 grams in?
Right.
It's especially with our lifestyle, especially people working
6-7 hours without eating.
Yeah, who go? I mean, there are people that meal prep their chicken the night before, and don't get me wrong, food sources are better.
Yeah, for sure, they're more bioavailable.
But if you can't get it in, have a protein shake.
Yeah,
it's great still.
And if you do get it in, you don't have to have a protein shake. It's just
easier.
And that's the thing.
That's great.
They are supplements at the end of the day. Yeah. So anyone comes out and says you look at these guys on stage at Mr. Olympia and they're repping their supplement companies.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
No.
They're helping, but they're not, that physique's not built on,
No, that's why I talk about my favorite. I've been asked before, what's your favorite supplement? And it's pre-workout for me because
you feel it.
Not only do I feel it, it gets me ready.
Right.
I'm going to get a better lift if I don't have it. And it's experience for me. That's kind of before I started Ryse, when I picked a brand, it was the experience of opening this bottle, smelling it, putting it in, how it mixed, smelling it again when I popped the cap, drinking it, the flavor.
That's the whole thing.
The fizz, how I felt. And that's a big thing behind branding.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is I was arguing. I didn't even say argue. I was having a heated discussion with another brand owner recently.
A heated discussion. Okay.
A heated discussion with another brand owner recently. Yeah, no, I mean, but they made the comment that certain things. We're actually talking about collaborations, and they said it's not necessary, right? Is Sunny D necessary? Could we just do a tangy citrus flavor and it would be good? Yeah, we can. But what separates?
But everybody
brands?
could do that,
right? And which is fine. And you know what? If you like another citrus flavor over Sunny D, don't buy it. It's completely fine. But to say that to do only what's necessary, that is our civilization would never evolve if that's what people did. You're always trying to step up. You're always trying to get better. You're always trying to do different things. It's not like we're charging more for the Sunny D, right?
No.
So there's no gimmick to it. It's the same exact thing. We're actually, not for nothing, we're making less money, right? We're spending more to develop this product and sell it for the exact same thing, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is customer experience, right? So like, it's cool. That's really all it is. Like, there's no big story behind it. There's no like weird little authenticity thing behind it. It's something that makes it a little bit more unique than the next brand.
Wait, so you're telling me that my citrulline isn't better than anyone else's?
Nope, it is probably actually our citrulline is likely better than other people just because of the processes that Formula Life goes through.
My point to that comment is everybody's citrulline is the same citrulline. Beta-alanine is beta-alanine. There's no secret beta-alanine that we're using, guys.
Here's the dirty little secret about the supplement industry, and I could say this because we don't have any, but a fish oil product. So most of your fish oil capsules and your liquid capsules come from the exact same manufacturer in the United States. So they can all have different, pretty branding. They can all be sold on Amazon for, $10 to $20 different from each other, but they're from the exact same place.
It's not here yet.
That's the dirty little secret.
When it is here. Yeah, no, and that's, I love being transparent too with people.
Yeah.
Like, guys, nothing's different. Our combinations are better. Our pre-workouts, I guarantee, cost more than most pre-workouts on the market for us to make. Again, like you said, we don't charge more for that. No. We pay a hell of a lot more, though, for it. We're losing money on it, but we want to bring that experience to you.
Forget about the intrinsic cost, right? Like, think about the amount of time that we spend making it happen. How much I talk to Harvest Hill, how much we go back and forth with approvals, how many different flavor samples it took, and how much
different designers and
how much we spent on just R&D, and those are extrinsic costs that you can't really you can't factor them in, but it's worth doing because it's just innovation. Like, that's what innovation is, right? Otherwise, we'd still be on horse and buggy.
To your point too, the most important thing, if you don't take Ryse, look at where it's being manufactured. Guys, you're putting this in your body.
Ask the brand.
Ask them. Yeah.
They don't have to tell you. Most manufacturers don't disclose their customers. They sign NDAs. Most brands don't disclose their manufacturers. A lot of times that's think about it. Like, how do I explain this without just calling someone out? If you are going to get your food at McDonald's, it's being made back there, right? You don't want them to walk out the back door and then come back in and hand you your food. And you're like, okay, where'd you just go to get my food? Right? Where you're buying your product. So now, why is that not the same thing with sports nutrition? Why would a brand not tell you where they're manufactured? Because the first thing you're going to do is Google it, right? And then when you Google it, what's going to happen? You're going to see FDA reports. Yeah, you're going to see indictments. You're going to see name changes for manufacturers. You're going to see, all these cool TikTok brands coming out there and saying, I have the best product in the world. But do you know what's actually in the bottle?
No.
Are you sure? Are you sure it went through the right testing processes? Are you sure that that's not on a warning list somewhere that you just haven't seen?
Right. And guys, I can tell you he's got to chase it down. I can tell you by experience, you're putting this in your body. We are older. You want to watch what you're putting in your body. It might be cool, you think, to take DHMA right now. Shit ain't cool. 10 years from now, you don't want to abuse that kind of stuff.
No. And look, like I said, the FDA is relatively overreaching in my opinion. Let's just call it what it is. The FDA is a government entity, right? So instead of
What do we got here? Speaking of collaborations, what's up?
Turn that one around.
Turn that one around.
So, you can see that this is Formula Life. This is from our manufacturer. It just got delivered. It's samples of two new collaborations actually that we're working on right now. But where I was going with that is that the FDA is...
No, it's capped.
Yeah. So the FDA is it's a government entity, right? So without calling them lazy, they're lazy. So what they're not going to do is go out and prove that a dietary ingredient is safe and effective, right? They're not going to go ahead and do that. They're going to force the brands to. And a lot of brands don't want to take some of these gray area ingredients, spend the money to run tests on them. So is DMHA healthy? I don't know. There's a lot of studies that say it's pretty dangerous. Well, is it terrible for you? More terrible than most of the other processed foods and stuff you're putting in your body? Who knows? But what I do know is that it's not a dietary ingredient. So it's not recognized as one. So if you have a bottle right here that says dietary supplement at the bottom and there's DMHA on the back, that's illegal. That's called label adultering.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Something else I wanted to say.
Careful.
Anyways, to the point. Guys, if you don't pick Ryse and you want to know if a brand that you're thinking about picking is a good product to put in your body, ask me. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of supplements.
I care about you guys more than buying from Ryse. We're okay. We're doing okay. We
Right, and there's a lot of things that we don't make. There's a lot of single ingredients we don't make. There's a lot of different, I guess.
Vegan protein right now, whatever it may be.
Yeah, for sure.
Ask either of us or any of our athletes, and we'll be honest with you.
Yeah, and if our athletes don't know or they try to just pimp Ryse, ask us. We'll tell you the truth.
Sup Wolf.
Sup Wolf.
Ryse CEO. Get it.
Get it.
Let's come to an end. Upcoming collaborations. Companies that do it wrong. Jake, what are you talking about there?
Let's dig in.
Oh. Pink Starburst? You can't say Pink Starburst? Oh, God.
Okay. I want to speak on both ends of this.
Made with Oreo bits? You can't say that.
Yeah, look, I'll speak on both ends of this. Up until, 3 years ago or so, there was no brands in the industry. In our direct.
Cold Stone.
So
it's a collaboration.
I will say that the actual first industry
authentic.
licensed collaboration in this industry was Gear Nutra, and they did Cold Stone before BSN did it.
Still Cold Stone?
I know this because I was going to make it at my old manufacturer. That being said, that is the first licensed collaboration that's ever hit this industry. A lot of people will say they're the first. They're lying to you. But like I just said on a recent post, the first is not necessarily the best. The best is the best, right? So I don't really care to be first to market with anything. What I care to do is push the envelope and be best to market and consistently work to be better than everyone else. So there's a lot of brands out there. There are a couple brands right now doing licensed collaborations very, very right. I haven't seen many doing it completely wrong besides the one that are just infringing on trademarks.
Yeah,
I think that's
what
you
want us to touch
right.
on. No, I don't think any are. One did it wrong, and the reason they did it wrong because they were going bankrupt,
and they're not in business anymore.
Yeah, so. Nobody should have given them license anyways. That kind of hurt the industry a little bit, but there's very few that are doing it and doing it right. And Ghost is one of them.
Ghost is doing it right.
A great job.
I think Accent Sledge is doing it right.
A great job.
Yeah. G Fuel definitely did it right with a lot of their licensed collaborations.
I even think GNC is doing it cool with Jolly Rancher.
Right. Yeah. You don't notice it much because it's like a house brand, but they are doing it right. I mean, they're definitely putting the work in for it.
You got us, and then some people say Diamond-Tize, but that's not a license because that's their brand.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that. There was a lot on that post on TikTok. You had a lot of people. Oh, you didn't mention Diamond-Tize. Look. Post Holdings owns Diamond-Tize.
So it's not a license.
So it's not a licensed collaboration. It's their own product because Post Holdings owns,
On the same end, yes, they're doing it right.
No, they're doing it 100% doing it right. Look, and I also don't want to say that the brands that are, there are brands that are infringing on trademarks. You never want to do copyright infringement, obviously. But before the real licensed collaborations, everyone was trying to mimic kind of a nostalgic flavor. So it was just part of the evolution of the industry. Because not for nothing, if there weren't all of those close to copyright infringement mimics, I don't think that iconic brands like Sunny D would have realized the demand for a real authentic collaboration.
It wouldn't make it that much more special either.
Right, exactly. Because
cool, they got Sunny D.
Yeah, but if so many people weren't trying to fake it from the beginning.
We're the ones that have it.
Right, exactly.
That's what makes it cool.
Right.
Some up and coming collaborations we have too. We're trying to get a little interesting here. So I can tell you we have movie collaborations coming. Mm-hmm. Not going to tell you what movies, but we're trying to push the envelope. We're not just trying to do flavors. We are doing flavors. We are doing candies. We got some great proteins in the works.
Want to just tell them?
Yeah, me too.
No.
I just want to go eat it. But yeah, guys, we got a lot of cool, exciting things. We are going to try to be the first to market in some things. Of course, that's always cool to do. But like Greg said, we want to be best to market. And damn.
Is that thunder?
I think so.
Texas, man, you guys got
Jesus. Fucking you brought it. It hasn't rained, has it?
I brought the thunder.
You fucking brought it. We want to do things right. So keep an eye out. We're, with Knowles. Knowles going to have an official license to it. It's right here, actually. We're about to go test it again. And that's another thing we do different than a lot of places, too. We, since we're directly integrated with Formula Life, we test products rigorously.
Yeah.
Wait, did I say that right?
Rigorously. Yeah.
That one. A lot. We test them a lot. So yeah, none of this shit's released without multiple tests and multiple people doing it. I love when people ask me oh, you can't like every flavor. I'm like, bro, I fucking taste test them before I release them. Of course, I like them to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I do not dislike.
Everyone has
any flavor.
favorites.
I have favorites.
Yeah,
I can rank them.
I wouldn't prefer the Fruity Crunch, but I can tell you it's probably one of the best fruity flavors of protein that I've ever tried.
My least favorite, but I still drink it because I approved it.
Right. And because to bring it right back to the beginning, we like giving options. There are people that don't like peanut butter flavors. People who are allergic to peanut butter flavors. People that don't like chocolate flavors. Sorry, Jake. So, I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah, I saw another comment. Someone's like, oh, you can't taste test every flavor as your company's growing.
Our manufacturer's 10 minutes down the road.
I will taste test every fucking flavor.
Yeah. I'm from New York. I flew here specifically to taste this product.
That's right. And I will never not. And yes, I taste tested in my WeWork when I started this brand. Mm-hmm. Now I'm taste testing in our 25,000 square foot facility. We will taste test.
I tasted in my 900 square foot apartment.
Thing. Wait, you're still in that apartment? I'm going to get you out here.
Pay me more.
Fly out here. It's cheaper.
Enough.
Pull a Jake.
Pull a Jake.
You moved in what was that, 4 days? This dude moved in 4 days. He just said,
his hair. He makes quick decisions, obviously.
It was the best decision of his life, though, right, Jake? See? It's great.
I believe it.
Dude, if Jake wasn't here now, if you guys don't follow Jake, Jake's huge part to Ryse, and he's also my adopted son. If he wasn't here, we probably wouldn't have got half the shit done we wanted to.
Yeah.
He was out there fucking Joe Dirt, drilling holes in the ground.
Jake built a fence this morning. Finished building a fence this morning. Almost finished.
He built the whole fucking fence.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Pretty awesome.
But yeah, anything else you want to talk about before we?
No, just
I'm going to turn it to you. I did a lot of talking and questions. What do you got? You want to ask me anything?
I know everything. I've been talking to you for 4 years. We talk every second of the day. I don't have any questions. How do we meet? How did we start talking?
Justin,
right?
Yeah.
So all right. So long story short, I have a friend who's local to me who started working for other sports nutrition companies. We kind of met through mutual friends / social media, whatever it might be. And I was the CMO of my last company, and I needed to hire a couple more graphic designers. And he, besides myself, I will say that I am actually pretty humble with this stuff, but I will say that in our industry specifically, there's only one designer that I would consider better than me, and I think it's Justin Miali. So I hired him over at my last company. He partnered with us to actually develop his own brand.
Don't look him up. He's busy enough.
He's definitely busy enough. Don't hire him either. Because we don't pay him enough. Just kidding. Kidding. Justin, don't ask for a raise. But so I hired him at my last company. We became pretty good friends. We collaborated on a brand with the former company and himself. And then he introduced me to Nick because they had worked together in the past. And I don't know, it just turned into, for some reason, me and Nick started talking all the time. He would call me every time he had a question about the industry. He would, call me anytime he had a question about a product. And we used to just shoot the shit constantly. We always talked about working together. And then it was like, I kind of let him know that I was thinking about leaving my last company. And he was like, all right, I think it's time. I think we're growing too fast.
Yeah.
And then I got here and I realized how much he needed to hire me probably a year ago. But
yeah, I don't like to poach. I want you to make the decision when you want to come over. But yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. On a real note, look at how big this fucking scoop is. Oh my God. That's one scoop, guys. This is
it's a 2-scoop serving.
2-scoop serving. Yeah. This is Noel's formula.
We didn't want to put a shovel in the bottle.
A lot. To compare it. Let's see. Is this open? Yeah. To compare it, here's a loaded scoop, and that's just full serving.
Half the size. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Probably a quarter of the scoop size, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to actually go lift right now in our gym here. If you guys don't know, we got a full gym. We're going to open it for you guys to come. I don't think we're going to have memberships, but we're going to have day passes. So plan a trip to Dallas.
Yep. And if I'm here at the time, we got a workout in and probably hear us yelling back here about something.
Shoot a podcast. Yeah. Rise and Grind podcast. This is number 1.
Of many.
Many more to come.
Cool.
I'm the host today. Jake might be tomorrow. Who knows? Do I got an exit noise?
Like, subscribe,
comment.
Ryse C.E.O, the Sup Wolf, Ryse Subs, Ryse_subs.
Yep. If you don't follow Noel, you probably do follow Noel.
Probably follow
Jake. Ryse Jim.
I don't know how to say your last name. Jake Olkey. Olkey. Nice.
Jake Olkey.
Yeah.
Just look him up.
Yeah, just look him up.
Who fucking cares? Ryse Gym. Make sure you follow Ryse Gym. We're going to be putting a lot of cool stuff on there. Every athlete that comes in, we're going to do stuff on there. So follow that too, guys.
Right.
Thanks for your time.
Cool.
Peace.